Good morning, students. Welcome back again. We were discussing chapter number 15, that is economic development, right? What we have seen in the previous topic, we are going to summarize in very short, and we are going to discuss two topics today, right? Before we begin, right, I'll give you a short summary of economic development, that is chapter number 15, and which topic did we discuss. The first topic that we discussed is economic development itself. What is economic development? What is the definition of economic development? Right? That is all given in the textbook and we have discussed in detail. Second thing that we have discussed is economic development and economic progress. There is a slight difference between economic development and progress. Right? I even gave you the example of the agriculture sector. Right? I hope you remember, that is in the part 1. Please watch part 1 if you have not seen all these topics, right? That is the difference between economic development and progress. That is all we have discussed. The third thing that we discussed was features of developing economy. What are the characteristics of developing economy? We say that India is a developing country, right? So there are certain characteristics of developing country or developing economy. What were the characteristics? What were the points? We have all discussed that things. Next is what is an economic activity and what is a non-economic activity, right? An activity which is done to to gain something, a monetary rewards or monetary forms, that is an economic activity. And when a thing that has been done which you don't expect something in return, which you don't expect something back in return, that is a non-economic activity. That is all what we have discussed over here, that is economic and non-economic activity. Then we have discussed the structure of Indian economy. What is the structure? Right, I even said that what is the pillars of Indian economy, what are the points that are to be considered in our Indian economy, what is the real face of our economy, that is also we have discussed. Right, next was factors of production. What were the factors of production? What were the things that were required? That is land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, factors of production, how they were distributed, right? Unlimited wants and all that concepts. Human wants are unlimited. We have to be very selective while buying the product from our market. We have to be very choosy from the market which satisfies our need at the maximum level. Right, this is how we have to divide the products and buy the products from the market. Right, this is what we have discussed, that is distributions of factors of production, and 4 things that were mandatorily required for the development of production, that is factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Right, we have all discussed all these things. This is all related to the economic development of our country. Right, today we are going to discuss two new topics related to the economic development, that is methods of allocation of resources. We have limited resources, as we have discussed in the previous lecture. Right, the resources are always limited in nature. For example, a piece of land. Right, if you have one piece of land, either you can go for the agriculture sector, either you can build a particular shop, either you can build a mall, either you can make a way from there. Right, that is an highway. Only one thing can be done. So the resources are always limited in nature. So I have said previously in the previous lecture, right, that we have to be very selective while we are buying goods from the market, while we are buying things from the market. Right, so this point is discussing about how the methods, or we can say how the resources are being allocated, what different methods are being used in the terms of allocation of resources. Right, there are two methods. There are two methods in the terms of allocation of resources. One is market system, that is market mechanism, and second is socialist system. Right, these are the two methods of allocation of resources in the terms of economic development. Right, we are going to discuss the features, the benefits, and the limitations of both the concepts. Right, I request the students to take out your textbook, page number 124. Methods of allotting, or you can say allocation of resources. Right, how we have seen the resources previously and how the resources are being allocated, we are going to discuss in detail. These two are the important points. Again, I'm repeating it again. One is in total different concept and the other is also in total different concept. Try to understand it as we go through the textbook. Every nation tries to attain speedy economic development by making the best possible allocation of resources. Allotment of resources is mainly done by two methods. One is market mechanism and second is social system. Both the systems are opposite to each other. I have previously told that both are different. We can say both are opposite to each other. By mingling both the systems, many other methods have been developed. Every country accept one or the other method as per their requirement, right? Every country accepts one or the other method. It depends upon country to country. Certain systems, or you can say certain allocations of resources, are based on market system in different countries, and in certain countries certain systems are being followed as socialist system. Now what is this two system that we are going to discuss again, right? By mingling both the systems, many other methods have been developed. Every country accepts one another method as per their requirement. Following is the explanation of the methods of allocation of resources or allotment of resources. How resources are being given to satisfy the needs of every individual living in the society, right? It has been divided again into two parts. One is the market system and the second is the socialist system. Right? What is the market system? See, nations like America, Japan, England, etc. have made their economic development through market system. They are the developed nations, right? United States, Japan, England, all that countries are developed nations. They have accepted the concept of market system, right? What is this market system? We are going to study again. In this method, the process of resource allocation is done on the basis of profit scope. Every product that they are putting in the market, right? I'm repeating it again. Every product that they are putting in the market is put in the market with an aim to earn a profit, right? In this system, in production and its related activities, profit is at the center. The main objective is profit for the business. If a product is of 5 rupees, it has been put in the market at 8 to 10 rupees, so that the profit would be generated from that product and the standard of living would be increased, right? This is what the developed country follow this system, right? I'm repeating it again. It is in profit-centric value. A product that has been put in the market, right, is always at an aim of buying the product with an aim to achieve profit in the business. When they achieve the profit, that same profit has been distributed to the employees working in the organization. So automatically the standard of living increases. And that same employees again goes into the market, buys different product, right, and gives the profit to some other company. Again that some other company goes, takes the profit again into the particular organization. Again they make new products, again they enter into the market with an aim to achieve the particular profit. That is the main objective, the profit-centric value. Again the product has been put in the market, right? The main objective is profit. Again they get the profit. That profit is distributed to their shareholders. That profit is distributed in terms of salary to their employees, so that the income would be high. And when the income would be high, obviously the spendings are going to be high. This is what the developed nations follow, this concept. That is the market system. Right? Next, what it says. In this system, in production and its related activity, profit is at the center. People invest in those industries where they find more scope of profit. Government is completely free in this system, right? Or you can say market is also completely free in this system, right? Government does not have any specific economic policies or does not play any role in this method. It is totally in the hands of privatizations. They are given freedom to put the price of the product with an aim to achieve the profit in the market, and government does not even interfere in terms of deciding the price of the product, right? And when this kind of freedom has been given in the whole country, we can see that nations are growing very fast, right? This is one simple logic that the developed nations are following. They are putting high prices, and when high prices are being put in the market, what people are going to do? They are going to earn more and more. How they are going to earn more and more? By producing goods more and more. by putting the goods in the market more and more. So obviously they are going to get the profit, and when they are going to get the profit, it would be given to the employees in terms of their salary or wages, and then they are going to buy the product from the market, whichever product it may be. Right? This is how the developed nation follow this concept, that is market mechanism, market system. But one of the most important thing that this country follows is population control. They follow the laws, they follow the particular rules decided by the government. And when the number of people are limited, the resources are always applicable or available easily to each and everyone in every state. In India, it is a whole different concept. The products are 10, the number of users are 1,000. That is why there is a scarcity in the market. That is why the resources are limited in India. Right? On the other side, population is constantly increasing. That means the number of users are constantly increasing. And as we have discussed earlier, resources are limited. And what these developed nations do, they understand the resources, they see the area, they see the production activity, and they see the number of users, and then they keep the price of the product. Right? This is a simple concept followed by a developed nation. Right? And that is why they are growing very fast. They are keeping the product's price high. And the products that have been available in the market are always limited. But on the other hand, the users are also limited. If there are 10 products, there are maybe 12 to 15 users. So on an average, leaving 1 or 2, everyone will be satisfied with the product. But in India, there are 10 products and there are 1,000 users. How many can we satisfy? 10, 20, 100? What about the remaining 900? They are always, wanting for us, needing for some kind of resources, but they are not getting it. Right? This is the difference between a developed and developing nation. Right? Let's look into the textbook again, what it says. Competition plays a vital role in the market system. In competitive market, the owner has to increase the working capacity to the greatest extent in order to obtain maximum profit. Because of this method, many new researches are done and new methods of productions are created. So production is at the maximum. The more product that you put in the market, the more profit you are going to generate. And the more profit you are going to generate, the same more profit is going to come back to the company. And the same more profit would be given in terms of salary to employees. So obviously the standard of living is going to be high. Right? And those same employees living in the society are going to buy products from the market, right? And again that profit would be going to some other company or to the same company of whichever product that they buy from the market. And that is how they raise the standard of living. That is how they revolve the money very fast. And that is why the development progress is on a very rapid scale. That is why they are known as a developed nation. And the most important thing is government does not interfere. Government does not interfere in all these businesses, in all these profit-centric values. They have given a total freedom to the different business departments to put the price as per their product. In India, it is not the same concept that has been followed. Right? We are following a different concept, that is a socialist concept. What is that socialist concept? We are going to go and look at later. Right? See what it says. Competition plays a vital role in the market system. In the competitive market, the owner has to increase the working capacity to the greatest extent in order to obtain maximum profit. Because of this method, many new researches are done and new methods of productions are created. So the production is at the maximum, and because of this fast economic development, that is what I have said, right, of the countries takes place. Thus, competition controls the whole market like an invisible hand. Right? Competition controls the whole market like an invisible hand, as the state does not interfere in this system, and this is known as a free economy. This is is also known as a free economy, where the market is totally open and where the government does not involve in terms of selling the products at a little higher price to achieve the profit. That is known as a free economy. That is known as a free economy. Right? This is all about market system. Which countries are following this system? That is America, Japan and England. Right? That is why they are known, or they are considered in developed countries or developed nations. Right? Look into the characteristics, what it says. Point number 1. Ownership of resources of production is either individual or private. As I have said, it is more concerned with the private sector. Government does not interfere or involve in the private sector, right? Especially in the terms of prices, when they are putting the price of the product with an aim to achieve the profit, right? Majority of the business is being done by the private sector. Second, profit is at the center of economic activity in the market system. But one of the most important point is, when they earn the profit, they pay the tax regularly to the government as per the law. So there are no issues and no problem. That is why government does not interfere. That is why government does not interfere in any kind of slightly profitable issues or slightly profitable margins, because they are getting the tax time to time as per the law. Right? Next, point number 3. Consumer gets good opportunity of choice. Lot of products are available in the market. So the consumer is obviously going to get the maximum products from the market, and they'll get different choices of different companies. Next, point number 4. Government interference is not there in this system. Right? And point number 5. Distribution of resources is based on profit. The resources that are being distributed to individuals, to the people who are buying from the market, are specially based on the terms of earning profit. Right? Simple characteristics. And point number 6, that is, economic decisions are taken while keeping price mechanism in mind. Even the decisions which are being taken by the private sector with the help of the government sector, they need to inform to the government sector first, and then they can keep the price. Government does not interfere means it is not a blind freedom given to the private sector. No, government does take care of each and everything. Right? But when all these decisions are being taken, government is being known previously by the private sector that we are going to do this, we are going to do that, we are going to take this much amount of profit, and when we get this much amount of profit, we are going to pay this much amount of higher tax to you. And when that amount of higher tax has been given to the government, obviously the development is going to be very fast. As simple as that. So point number 6 says economic decisions are taken while keeping price mechanism in mind. Right? They are fixing the price with an aim or targeting the profit at the center. The more amount of profit, the more amount of higher standard of living, and the more amount of the taxes that they are going to pay to the government. And when the more amount of taxes that they are going to pay to the government, the more amount of development it is done in that country. As simple as that. Right? This is market system, the characteristics of market system. I hope the concept of market system and its characteristics is clear. Moving towards the next topic, that is benefits of market mechanism. See, what are the benefits that they are getting, right, while putting the price of the product slightly higher with an aim of getting the profit. What are the benefits that they are getting? Point number 1. Economic freedom of individual is protected in the market system, right? A kind of freedom is being given to an individual or to a particular private sector in the market. They do not have to fear the government, as everything is discussed previously or earlier. The prices has been decided keeping all the factors in the mind. So government is not going to interfere in any kind of product or in any kind of price change. So there is one kind of freedom in the market system. Point number 2, resources of productions are utilized to the greatest extent and efficiently. The products which are being made, and obviously when the company is going to put a slightly higher price, it is always considered with quality rather than quantity. So the product that the consumers buys from the market is always a qualitative product rather than a quantitative product. So when a consumer buys the goods from the market, he is going to be satisfied, and when he is going to satisfied, he is going to buy the product again. And when the same consumer buys the product again, the same amount of profit would be generated and it would be given to the company. And the cycle rotates. And the cycle rotates. That is a fast economic development. This is the benefit that they are getting. Right? Point number 3. Abandoned production may be done, right? As everything is free, right? They don't need to, have a fear, a mental or a physical fear of the government, right? Abandoned products are being made and put in the market. So the consumer will get the choice, a good qualitative choice from the market, and will buy the product. Because consumer is the king of the market, because he is paying money from his pocket. And when he pays money from his pocket, right, and the product that he buys, that is the most important thing for a businessman. Why? Because it is concerned with profit. So abundant quantity of products would be available in the market. That is again a benefit of market system. Next, point number 4. New exploitations keep on track taking place continuously in the economy, and as a result economic development becomes faster. That is what I have said. New exploitations keeps on taking place. That means new products are being invented, new system, new technologies, new ways of productions are being constantly done, and that keeps the economic development moving very fast. That is again a benefit of market system, right? And point number 5, quality of things improve because of competition. As there is a lot of competition, every private individual or private sector has been given the freedom, right? They have the right to put the product in the market, and when they have that right, the competition rises. The competition rises, right? In a class, if there are 30 students studying, and each and every one, or you can say 20 to 22 students are getting about 70-75%, the remaining 8 of 1 males are going to think that even we should study if we want to survive. So obviously that 8 students are going to raise their level from 55 to 60%, or 60 to 65, 75 to 85. Right? This is what it is, a developed country that follows the system. Right? This is how we have to understand what is market system, what are the benefits of market system. But the thing is, they follow the law, they pay the tax and keep the population in control, so that lot of resources would be available and each and every customer buying the product from the market will be satisfied. Right? Next, limitations. Every coin has two sides. If we find something positive, there are always certain drawbacks in the terms of market system, right? You might be having certain kinds of doubt that if they are going to keep the product's price high, right, isn't it a kind of exploitation to the consumers? Yes, it is, but in a different way. In a different way. Why in a different way? Because even their earnings are very high. As the profit is going to be generated on a higher scale, their earnings would be also be generated on a higher scale. As simple as that. But still, there are certain limitations in the market system also. What are the limitations? Look into the textbook. In spite of having many benefits, market system is not perfect. There are many disadvantages and limitations, which are as follows. Point number 1. Because of keeping profit in the center of production, commodities are produced in more quantity, and production of luxurious commodities of basic requirements is neglected or reduced. Priority is given to the luxurious commodities rather than the simple commodities or the common commodities that would be available or would be required by the people in their day-to-day life. Right? For example, if we say in the terms of technology, that is cars, right? Everyone does not require a car, or everyone cannot afford a car, but they give the priority to that particular sector and constantly develop competition in that, but they ignore some other factors, as we have previously discussed. Right? There are many sectors, many different sectors. In each and every sector we have to focus, then only we would be in the developing country. Right? Agriculture sector, insurance sector, banking sector, this is all we have discussed in the previous sessions, right? Talking about Indian economy. But this system ignores the other system and try to focus on those particular sector or those systems which produce a luxurious goods. And when they produce luxurious goods, they keep the prices on the sky. Because as they are going to put more luxurious product in the market, the more expensive it is going to be. And the product, as more expensive it is going to generate more profit. You can buy a luxurious product once or twice. Every day you cannot buy luxurious product, because that is not your requirement. So when you are talking about your basic needs, right, at that point of time you don't require luxurious products. So that works as a limitation. Point number 2. Because of lack of policy related to role of state, natural resources are wasted. Right? Everyone is not going to buy the products which are very expensive. So certain point of time it may happen that the products will be idle in the market. No one is going to, buy that product because of the higher price. Everyone cannot afford the higher price, even though it is a developed nation. There would be people who might be looking for different options or for different products. And when they buy the different product, the other product is going to be a waste. Or it is just going to be idle put in the market, because they are preferring the other products. So the quality and the resources being made on that product, as I have said earlier, they are going to produce a qualitative products. So when they buy this, they are going to ignore this. And when they ignore this product is very qualitative. This product is made with the help of resources, and this is a waste. Right? Some people are going to buy this product, and this is a waste. This is how it is going to happen. Or you can say, this is how the limitations are being created. Right? Resources are being wasted in the terms of qualitative products, making qualitative products. Right? Number 3. Due to lack of knowledge and ignorance about the market, consumers are exploited. There are certain consumers who don't have any kind of knowledge, so again they are going to be exploited. As simple as that. Point number 4. Due to centralization of property and income, there is an increase in disparity of income. Increase in disparity of the income. Rich is going to be richer and poor is going to be poorer. I have given the example in first session. A guy who is earning 1,50,000 per month is going to be richer and richer day by day. And a person who is earning 5,000, it is going to be on an average or an below average guy. Can never reach to the level of 1,50,000, and when he reaches to that level, that person who is earning 1,50,000 might be earning 10 to 20 lakhs. So there is always a disparity of income between two people. That is again a problem. We can say developed nation, but still in developed nation there are people, right, who are average, below average, or we can say poor. So everyone cannot afford the luxurious products, qualitative products. So again there is a limitation. That is what we can say. Right? Next, point number 5. There is a fear of monopoly, economic instability, exploitation of laborers, etc. Right? There might be a fear of monopoly. If one product is so successful in the market, people are always going to buy that product. They are not going to look at the other products which are available in the market. So that is again a loss of resources, loss of qualitative products, loss for the company, and loss even for the laborers who are making good products which are keeping idle in the market. No one is looking at that products. That is again a limitation. And there would be more exploitation to the people or to the particular workers working in the company. That would be again a problem. Right? So each coin has two sides. If we look on the positive sides, we look always certain things positive, but we even need to look on the other sides, and that is the limitation. Right? These are the problems that the developed nation like England, Japan and America are facing in which system? Market system. Market system. I hope this concept is clear, with features, benefits and limitations. Talking about developed nations, right? Coming to the next concept, that is the last concept, that is the socialist system. What is the socialist system? Those systems in which the developing countries are involved. I'm repeating it again, this system in which the developing countries are involved, like India. That is a socialist system, keeping customer as a center rather than the profit, is known as a socialist system. is known as an socialist system. Keeping the price low, keeping the price average, right? So that each and every consumer or customer can buy the product from the market. That is a socialist system. Look into the textbook what it says. Socialist system originated because of limitations and failures of market system, right? Countries like Russia and China have achieved fast economic development or progress by adopting this system. Socialist system is quite opposite to the market system, right? They are, focusing on the luxurious goods, they are focusing on the product. This thing is a total opposite concept, right? What it says, see. Socialist system is quite opposite to the market system. In the socialist system, all the economic decisions are taken by the state. State owns all the resources of production. In this system, whole economy is managed by the state. Everything is being managed by the government. Right? It is the state who is responsible for each and every activity in the terms of production. Right? All the decisions pertaining to production, investment, resources, distribution, product distributions, etc. are taken after keeping the requirement of society in mind. What is society? We as a people living in a particular area is called as a society. What are the needs? What are the requirements that are to be kept first in the mind, and then the products are going to be produced with the approval of state government. And then the products are being put in the market with a specific price, again by the approval of government. Different states. Right? Total opposite concept of market system. Right? Next. In the socialist system, rather than profit, social welfare is at the center. Production of resources and their places are decided by the state. They have been decided by the state. The responsibility to achieve the target of production decided by the state governed factories. Farming is also owned by the state. In this countries, farming is also owned by the state. In India, it is also the same situation. Right? Laborers are paid according to their ability and according to the work taken from them. The number of amount of work that they are doing, they are being paid as per the work that they have done. As simple as that. That is a socialist system, an opposite concept of market system, right? Look into the features, what it says. First, resources are owned by the state. It is a total control of the government. Second, all the economic decisions are taken by the state. Third, rather than profit, see, mark it well, rather than profit, social welfare is at the center of economic activities. What is the social welfare? Providing each and every product to different areas, to different societies as per their needs and as per their standard of living. Right? Point number 4. Laborers are paid wages in return of works. Laborers are paid wages in return of their work. If you have done work for 8 hours, you are going to be paid for 8 hours. If you are going on working for 10 hours, you are going to be paid for 10 hours. Right? These are the features of the socialist system. As simple as that. Keeping the society and keeping different peoples in the mind so that each and everyone can get the product from the market as a reasonable price, right? So that the needs would be satisfied. As simple as that. This is known as the socialist system. In this textbook, India is not mentioned, right? The two countries that have been mentioned is Russia and China, but India is also, using this system that is known as a socialist system. Right? I hope the concept is clear as well as the features or the characteristics. Right? Moving towards the last two concepts, that is the benefits and limitations. Benefits. What are the benefits, or you can say the advantages of this system? Because of the production, according to the requirement of society, unimportant and luxurious items are not produced. See, luxurious items are not being produced. Those items are only produced which the society needs or require. It may be of 10 rupees, it may be of 100 rupees, or it may be as per the needs of the society. That is the most benefit that you get in this system. Each and every one, a common man, can buy the product from the market. That is the benefit that they are going to get. Second, as the decisions related to the production are taken by the state, so the wastage of resources is not there. Everything is been controlled by the state, so no resources would be wasted, right? Every record is to be kept by the government, and government takes all the decisions, so resources will not be wasted. Third, disparity of income and property is removed. We have seen disparity of income in the market system. A rich is going to be richer and poor is going to be poorer. This system is absent over here. As everyone is going to get the products in the market, right? Everyone can satisfy their own needs as per their standard of living. So this factor would be absent, that is disparity of income. In which system? In socialist system, right? And fourth, consumers are not exploited. As simple as that. The most beneficial point is consumers who buys the product from the market. They are not going to be exploited. They are not going to be exploited. The prices that the government is going to put on the products would be very reasonable, right, with an aim of a socialist activity. With an aim of socialist activity, right? So each and every consumer, as per their power of their own pocket, can buy the products from the market. This is the benefits of socialist system. Moving towards the last concept, that is the limitations of socialist system. As every coin has two sides, there are always certain limitations also. What are the limitations? Let's look into the textbook. Socialist system, which has come into existence with a noble intention of equal distribution and social welfare, has two certain limitations. What are the limitations? One, as the resources of the production are owned by the state, people do not get encouragement and motivation to increase production. As the complete authority lies in the hands of government, right? Their own ideas, their own thoughts, private sector is not given that importance. So the limitations is, we can say the motivation factor or the ideas that are being generated from different businessmen would always be limited. As everything is being controlled by the government, from the product, that is from the raw material, to the finished good, till the price, finalization of price. So that leads to a lack of motivation to the other sectors also, right? Because the ultimate power lies in the hands of government, right? So that is again a limitation. Point number 2, due to lack of competition, contest and research do not get momentum in the economy, right? There is only one particular sector, that is the government sector, who decides each and everything. So there would be no competition. And if there would be no competition, the amount of the economic development would be on a slow scale. So that is again a limitation. Point number 3, there is lack of individual freedom in this system. An individual is not given any kind of freedom to make the product by themselves, to keep the price by themselves, to put the price and profit margin by themselves. They have to take the permissions of government of different states, and as per the approval they can put the price in the market. But as it is a socialist system, right, we cannot imagine of profit also. A minor profit is accepted. But if you are expecting high rate of profits, this system is absent over here. You can only do this system in this concept. This system is not available over here. So the businessman who wants to earn on a higher scale, this concept would be absent over here in this system. That is the socialist system. And the fourth point, because of complete interference of the state, there is a fear of bureaucracy, right? As it is always in one person, one controlled person, that is the government who is controlling each and everything. There is a fear of bureaucracy. Private sectors are being ignored. Private sectors are not given any kind of freedom. Each and everything is being decided by the state government, even from the product to the prices. So there is a fear of bureaucracy. Whatever they say, you have to accept it blindly, accept the rules, accept the laws, and work and make the product as per the rules of government, right? These are certain limitations of socialist system, right? I hope the concept is clear. Market system and socialist system. What we are discussing? Economic development. What is economic development? That we know, right? Resources. What is resources? Always limited in nature. When the resources are limited in nature, they are being, different methods that has been applied, how the resources are allocated. It have been allocated on two ways, that is the market system and the socialist system. What is the market system? Keeping profit in mind. And what is the socialist system? Keeping society in mind. Both are different concepts, both are opposite to each other, both have their own characteristics, both have their own advantages, and both have their own limitations. Right? This is one of the important concepts of your chapter. Please try to understand, read it twice and thrice so that the understanding would be getting more stronger and stronger. India, again I'd say, is following this concept, that is the socialist system. As the number of population is too high and every user is available in India, that is from the extreme poor to the extreme rich. So we are again following this system. Majority of the particular concerned state are following this system, that is the socialist system. Right? I hope the concept of today is clear. Please do watch the video twice and thrice for better understanding, and refer the textbook again rather than referring to some other materials. Right? And please do watch the videos if you have not watched. We have previously discussed all these topics. Try to watch the video, read from the textbook, and make your concept stronger and stronger. Right? Please make a note of this. Thank you.